good evening, everyone. I'm Amy from Amy Scott Life Coaching, here to talk about feelings tonight. So, I know, for some of you, it might be one of those like, may not be interesting, but let me just tell you, it can be amazing, and this is why. So, let's dive into, I'm going to give you a little overview of what we're going to talk about and how we're going to talk about it tonight. What I'm going to do is explain the 4 ways actions that we take to a feeling in our body. A feeling is a one-word emotion that comes up as a result of a thought that we have. We're going to talk about our 4 actions that we can take, 3 of which are not helpful, especially when it comes to weight loss, and 1 of which is an amazing way to answer that feeling. And I'll explain that whole process, how to process an emotion, how to gain some agency over it, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight, as well as I'm going to follow up with some great questions and some helpful tips and resources that are going to help you in your weight loss journey and learn how to process an emotion effectively. So before I get into that, I want to say thank you for coming. If you're here, we're so welcome, so happy to have you. And let me just say, most people don't like to talk about this topic. So if you're actually listening to this, either live or in replay, give yourself a high five for even being willing to go there, right? It's awesome. All right. One of the things I want to just share with you first before I go any further is I have lost 80 pounds with the help of a life coach. That's my story. I was in my mid-50s when I was feeling very hopeless, very stuck, feeling like it was not in the cards for me to lose weight. All you have to do is hit the Googles and you'll see there's, good luck, lady. You're not going to find any help here. It's not likely that you'll lose weight, which is not helpful. Let me just say. So I was at my wit's end, feeling like there was nothing I could do to move that needle, to move the weight loss, needle. I was overweight, very overweight, all of my life, all of my adult life. Probably from the time I was 16, I was probably carrying around an extra 30, 40, 50, up to 80 pounds. And I found a life coach and learned some weight loss tools and mindset tools. So tonight is going to be we're talking about some of that mindset tool, which is learning how to manage your mind and emotions and how the role they play in weight loss. As a result of my weight loss journey, I have decided that I really love coaching and wanted to help you lose weight if you would like to. So I got certified and I'm now a weight loss and mindset coach. So for those of you who are interested in weight loss coaching, I would love to chat with you. I'm going to share some information at the end. I also will have a link in my bio if you want to check out the website, and you can, we'll go from there. But first, let's go into the 4 actions that we take when it comes to an emotion. And like I said, an emotion is a one-word feeling in our body. It's an actual a vibration in our body. So the first way that we answer a feeling is to react. And the example I like to use for this one is pretend you're driving in a car and some guy cuts you off. And so you have a feeling, something like, irritation, frustration, anger, being pissed off, let's just say. Because it's what's the word? It's not supposed to happen. They weren't paying attention, and you're angry with them. So your action or your reaction might be something like, you might say a word or two, or you might have a little hand gesture or something like that. That's a reaction to a thought, to a feeling. But as women, very often we have been taught to, folks, we don't want to overreact. We don't want to be that kind of woman. We don't want to let people know what we're really thinking. So we do the next thing on our list, which is we resist. Let me see. I think you can't see there. There we go. We resist. And what that looks like is same thing. The guy cuts you off, and instead of noticing, oh my goodness, that we're feeling mad, I'm just mad and I'm going to let you know, we think, I don't want to do a hand gesture. I don't want to have say a mean word because I might hurt their feelings. So we push it down. And what that looks like is, here's my handy dandy visual aid. If you can see this, it's as if you were holding a beach ball or this is my physio ball. You're holding it underwater and you press down. And the more you press down, it does go down further, but it also is much more strain on your body. And you're like basically suppressing that action, that reaction, or that feeling. You're thinking, if I can just push this feeling away, then I won't react. Sometimes, if you do that over and over and over, you will end up having an overreaction. And what that looks like is when you resist and resist, usually feeling after feeling after feeling. And so I'll give you like a little scenario. Guy cuts you off, you're angry, but you don't want to show it, so you push it down. Then you go to work, your boss yells at you for no reason, then you're feeling incensed or something like irritated, or it's unjust and you're feeling this injustice. But you don't want to let people know, so you push that down. Then you don't show up for a friend that says that you're supposed to, that you want to meet with, and you let her down. And then you feel shame. Well, you don't want to feel shame, so you push that down too. So next thing you know, you've got layer upon layer upon layer of feelings. Then, because you're feeling all these crappy feelings or don't want to feel them, and you're pushing them down, you end up overeating. You hit your face down in mac and cheese, or you're heading to the vending machine at work. Then you don't fulfill your promise to yourself, which was not to overeat that day. Then you're starting to feel shame or despair, but you don't want to feel that feeling, so you push that down even more. So then what happens is you head home, you've been pushing this feeling down, you're exhausted because of all this managing, trying to resist so hard these emotions, and someone just says one word hey, what's for dinner? And you go, so it's like the ball pops up out of the water. And it may look like an overreaction, but it's only because you've been resisting. And think of the energy and the effort and the how long that takes, how much that takes in your body, and how much the energy that takes, how much bandwidth that takes to hold that ball under the water. That's what you're doing to yourself when you're resisting an emotion. The next step to this is I would love to explore avoiding a feeling. So what happens is we push that emotion down, and because we're afraid of it, very often we don't want to notice a feeling because we are fearful that something really bad might happen. And in that case of overreacting, it can happen that way. We have seen that happen in our life with our loved ones. Sometimes we do overreact, right? So we think that, here's the answer. I'm not going to resist it. I'm just going to pretend it's not there. And that is, my friends, avoiding. That's avoiding a feeling. What that looks like is that we very often, we are afraid to notice it. We're afraid it's going to hurt us. We think it's not safe to notice the feeling. So we bat it away. And avoid it. We go around, go over, go under, right? We try to put in its place something that will get our mind off of what it is that we're actually feeling. So this one comes out of seeking. We come to it by seeking out false pleasure in some way or shape, I don't know what the phrase is, but the only problem with this is when we're trying to replace it with something good. I know, I just won't think it. I'm just gonna bat it away so it doesn't bug me. The problem with this, guys, is that we think that feeling is gone, but it's still in the background. Where am I? It's still going on in the background. It's almost as though if you've ever noticed your refrigerator, you don't notice it when there's loud music or there's lots of people around. Your refrigerator's running. Whether you hear it or not, it's always there. But when there's loud rock and roll music, you just don't notice it. It's only when the music quiets down, and in this case, say your brain has a minute to quiet down, that all of a sudden that buzzing feels louder and louder, and then you start to notice it. But it never really left. a lot of times we think it's gone, but we're carrying it around. We're carrying those emotions around, just not consciously. And that takes effort and bandwidth and energy. Anytime we're choosing an action or something on purpose to avoid a feeling, that is called buffering. Okay, I think we're... Oh. Hey guys, I'm sorry I had an interruption. So that is called buffering. So I think we're good. I think we're still good. All right, that is called buffering. So when buffering is anytime we try to replace noticing a feeling with an action or activity. And it can look different for different people. It's basically, we're just mostly trying to avoid a feeling. For me, the choice can be food. That's what my buffer of choice. For some, it's scrolling. For some, it's watching Netflix on end. For some, it's pick your buffer of choice: over drinking, over scrolling, overeating, over ring of any sort to try to avoid and to, like, get that false pleasure. Here's how it affects us when we're eating. We overeat because we don't want to feel the shame, the disappointment, the anger, whatever that is. And so we overeat, and guess what comes after that? It's pleasurable in the moment. We're like, yes, it's a relief. We actually get a little bit of relief, a little bit of a dopamine hit, until we realize we failed ourselves again, or we disappointed ourselves, or we didn't show up the way we wanted to. Then it's followed by shame. And then we want to, guess what? Avoid the shame, avoid thinking about the shame. So guess what? We overeat again to avoid that. And it becomes this basically circular situation and an unhelpful spiral. So are you thinking, okay, if we're not supposed to react, we're not supposed to resist, we're not supposed to avoid, what are we supposed to do with a feeling? Well, can you see it? Allow. How do we do that? What does that look like? How do you allow a feeling? Well, let me tell you. I will give you a little brief way of how we do it. This is something I work with very often with my clients one-on-one when it's a safe space. So here's the thing. Because we are reacting, resisting, and avoiding feelings because we think there's something dangerous in the actual of the feeling. That one word emotion, that's just a vibration in our body. We actually are convinced, our brain tells us this lie, which is this can hurt us and it's not safe. We need to get away from it, avoid it, resist it, whatever. But the truth is, it cannot hurt you. So the answer then is to allow it. What that means is we simply name it. Just name that feeling. I'm feeling shame. I'm feeling disappointed. I'm feeling anger right now. I'm feeling sadness right now. One word emotion, how it feels in your body, just name it. Then you observe it where it shows up for you. So for me, it comes out, so there are different things like, when I'm feeling like tense, it's in my jaw. When I'm feeling anxious, it can be in my stomach. Sometimes when it's fear, it's in my chest. I have like a hard time breathing, like I have a hard time catching my breath. When it's sadness, it's in my throat. So sometimes you just notice where on your body it is. And that's the first step, is just to notice it. And then what happens is, once you notice it, it can have a chance to dissipate and actually just go away. So it turns out that it takes a lot of bandwidth to react, resist, and avoid a feeling. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort to pretend it's not there and try to like dodge it. But when you simply allow it, it actually creates space in your brain and in your life to be able to handle things like making better choices with food, showing up the way you want to show up with your habits or whatever that is. So that's why it is super helpful to just allow a feeling and helps you to make the best decisions for you. So it's amazing. All right. If you want to work with a coach, this is a really helpful way that a coach can help you, is to learn to process an emotion. We work with this. We work together on that. And then you get really good at it. You can do it on your own. It's awesome. It's a skill for life. Okay, so here are my favorite questions about identifying emotions. Let me give you my arts thing. Okay, so the first is just simply this, like, what am I feeling? What am I feeling? Because a lot of times we don't have a lot of language for this. We don't really talk about this very much. So I love to just say, okay, what am I feeling? I don't know. Like, a lot of people say, I don't know. What's a feel? Like, they don't even know how to identify a feeling. It's okay. We haven't been really given language for this. The truth is, we really haven't. It's one of those things that hasn't been talked about a whole lot. So as a result, it just takes a little practice, takes a little time to sort of identify what that feeling is and name it. My favorite way to learn this, and one of the things that has helped me really a lot, is when I try to think about a name and I can't come up with the word, there's an app called Word Hippo. It's really helpful. It helps with synonyms. It's like a little thesaurus in your phone. So fun, little pink hippo. The other thing is there are a million of them, but if you just Google feelings wheel, and it gives you a big wheel, and it breaks it into I think 5 major categories and then more specific categories. And it really helps you kind of narrow down, oh yeah, this is disappointment, or no, I'm feeling fury, or I'm just incensed right now, or whatever the thing is. And then once you name it, then you can get some agency over it. It's really, really fun. So then my next question is, where is this located in my body? Like I said before, I was explaining, sometimes it's in your stomach, sometimes it's in your chest, I've had someone say that she felt something in her shoulder, in her right shoulder. Doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. It's just where in your body you are feeling that feeling. The next is, I just spend a little time there. Don't try to get through this exercise really fast. It takes about 90 seconds to process an emotion. So first of all, just telling yourself you're safe, nothing has gone wrong, everything is just fine. That's really helpful when you are managing your mind around emotions. Again, the reason that we so badly want to resist or avoid is because we're telling ourselves something is going wrong or this is not safe. Remind yourself you're safe, and we're just going to sit and notice it. And the truth is, after about 90 seconds, it will dissipate. Where this is helpful, and here is especially in weight loss, is when you have an urgent feeling. We all know what an urge is, people, right? That you get this urge for ice cream, and it feels so powerful. It feels like you have no control over it. It feels like that it's not my fault. I can't help myself. I had the urge. I had to do it. If you would just take a minute, just a half of a minute, and sit with it for just a half a minute and allow that feeling, notice it in your body, name it, see where it's coming up in your body, and then just wait, it will dissipate. And next thing you know, you can move through your urges. And as you get better at not answering your urges with food, guess what? You will lose weight because you won't have to eat every time. What happens is we have a learned response, we have an urge, we eat some food. So guess what happens? The next time it's oh, I'm going to have an urge and I'm going to eat some food. I know exactly what I want to get. And you get the quick hit and it reinforces that urge. That urge means food versus learning an urge means I can wait, I can do this, get through it. And that is a huge hack for losing weight. It's awesome. All right, the last question I love to ask is this a feeling I want to feel or want to have, and why? And here's why I want to bring this up. What I am not saying is I think we should only feel positive things. I think we should only feel that we have to change all our negative feelings into something positive. That is not what I'm saying. I think in our world, we have been given all these emotions by God, in my opinion. And God wants us to have the full human experience. And to have that full human experience, it means to process all of these emotions. Sometimes, like when it comes to grief or sadness, we want to have that emotion. And here's why. So for example, my sister passed away 2 years ago, and I want to be sad because that reminds me how much she meant to me. I want to be missing her because that reminds me that I loved spending time with her. I want to feel remorse. I want to feel, like that incomplete. I want to remember her. So it helps me to remember her. And feeling those negative feelings actually help us then when the positive feelings come to notice them a little bit more too. So when you're processing your negative emotion, guess what? You can do the same thing with the positive ones. So I'll give you some examples. Some of my negative ones I had, I came up with a visualize. This kind of just came to me. I was feeling defensive one day. I pictured like a big metal gate closing shut and nothing could come in or out, which was the opposite of what I wanted, which was to be open and willing and generous. So once I realized I had that thought or had that feeling, I don't want to be, but I don't want to be. So then what came up to me is the gate sort of melted away and kind of like turned into a cloud. And then my heart felt just so much more open. When I think of joy or happiness, I think of pink bubbles. That's what came to my mind. When I think of love, it's pink, it's bubbly, it's open and warm and overflowing. So it's not just for the negative, it's also the positive that we can actually enjoy those, and we'll just get so much more out of life if we can have that full human experience. Isn't that amazing? So, okay. That's all I wanted to talk about today. If you have any questions, by the way, next week, just so you know, I'll be coming live again. I'm going to be talking about buffering in depth, a little bit about that and what that looks like, how it shows up for us, and what to do about it. So if you're interested in life coaching, check out my bio. There's a website there. You can check the link for my calendar. I actually just opened up Thursdays. You can also just DM me. I would love to chat with you to see if I'm the right fit for you as a coach, or I can refer you to someone who is. I just love this stuff so much. I love talking about it, all things weight loss. I'll be posting and coming live, so sharing all the wisdom. I am so grateful for this opportunity to work with you. If anyone has any questions, I just realized there's a couple people, Tracy and Debbie. Hey, let me see. I'll do a little wave. I don't know if I can see any. Oh, I see the comments there. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. And if not, that's great too. But this is going to be on replay. And you can just check it out then. So, all right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful day.